So group 3 is Rita, Andreas, Sinara, Clement, and I. Just one disclaimer. Well, we were assigned group 3, but when we created the WhatsApp group, we created it as group 2. So you're going to hear another answer to question 2 again. So apologies for that. Okay, so the question is how to patent digital business model. Okay, why is it? Hold on, this isn't moving. Okay. So just a brief introduction about the business model and the digital transformation that Hilti is effected. And what we're going to see here is another demonstration of the principle that you always seek out the customer feedback first and you work back towards the product and the IP strategy. And in the case of Hilti, you're going to see that they transform from being a seller of products, these are like the power tools like drills, to becoming a service provider of tools. So I think one thing that's common to all digital transformations is that there are a few triggers that lead to the transformation. So one is there's increasing competitive pressure from the east. There's also more emphasis on service type business models. I think customers in all markets are becoming fussier and they want more personalized solutions. And there's also a need to integrate engineering expertise with IT solutions. So what is fleet management? So basically it's a method of service provision by Hilti, which caters as a B2B model, and they sell the services to construction companies. So basically how it works is the tools are deployed on a rental or rental basis to construction companies. So this way the construction companies don't have to buy the tools and spend hundreds of dollars on them. Instead, they rent it on a daily or a weekly or project basis. Uh, and the important thing is that they will be able to give back the tools to Hilti in case there's a need for maintenance or repair. And Hilti will provide replacements and also repair the damaged tools. So in this way, they're able to build a more stable customer relationships. And one of the advantages of digitalizing tools is that uh, you could have like tracking software which will prevent theft, and you will also be able to predict, say, the lifetime of tools, and that'll aid in the maintenance process. So let's look at some of the aspects of the business model. Uh, so the key partners of the business model are actually the site staff. So there are actually hundreds of Hilti employees who may be engineers or technicians or product people who are on the ground working with the construction companies to get customer feedback and to understand the problems better. In terms of key activities, as I mentioned, fleet management is their major activity in this digital transformation age. Um, they provide tools on a rental basis, and also they have an R&D center which comes up with a lot of innovations based on the customer feedback they get from the site staff. In terms of resources, I think one important aspect of Hilti is that it's a family enterprise. And so their decisions are mostly taken without pressure from any external stakeholders. Uh, they do have an R&D center that churns out innovative products, and they've accumulated decades of know-how in this tool business. The customer segment, as I mentioned, is construction companies, direct sales to these companies via a rental model. And the value proposition is that they're actually selling holes, not hammers, which was actually their original business model. Um, so when a tool is damaged, you just return to Hilti. You will get a replacement tool within hours, actually. And of course, one of the key core competence is the making of high quality tools, and that's not going to change anytime. In terms of customer relationships, they again through their site staff, they're going to have regular feedback from the ground, uh, and also with digitalization, they have apps and they also have customer care through telephones. So in terms of cost, of course, R&D is a cost because they have to come up with innovative products, and then manufacturing, sales teams, and also maintenance and repair of tools. And the revenue stream, as I mentioned, is the rental model. So Andreas is going to talk about patents.
Okay, so within the digital transformation, we often look at different levels of sort of virtuality or disconnection from the physical products, and usually so that have layer level 1, which is the physical products, which for this case is the power tools. You have the level 2, which are sensors and actuators, which could, for instance, be vibration sensors or sensors that are sensing the rotation of the electrical motor in the power tools or other kinds of sort of sensors. And then you also need you also need the sort of the connectivity level, which is sort of connect the physical world to the digital world, which in this case will be the patent we will discuss and already discussed by the other group 2. And then you have the fourth layer, which is the analytics layer that sort of works with the data that you receive from the power tools. It could be predictive maintenance. So you see that the power tools have been used for a certain amount of time, or the vibration sensor indicates that one of the motors is going bad. The battery is not charging sufficiently anymore, so you would need to replace the battery, and all those kinds of issues, which is important when you do this fleet management business model, where you want to help them make holes and not have tools. And then on the top you have sort of the most abstract level, which is the digital service, which is the fleet management tools, for example, where sort of you can have the different connections to the different use cases, or for instance the alarm systems for theft management, etc., etc. Okay, so I will now have a discussion on that patent. Yes. Okay. So yeah. So EP 3426441 relates to a handheld machine tool and an amplifier antenna. So the basics about the amplifier antenna. So, but that patent provides exclusivity for electrical handheld power tools having a magnetically coupled booster antenna for radio transmission, which is very good because you can use the existing sort of antennas that doesn't have very long data transmission range, so that doesn't use that much power. So this is really good, and the value proposition for this is that you don't require wide adapters for wide data transfers. You don't need to take the power tool to a connection to upload to the cloud or to the service. It's also insensitive to dirt as opposed to optical data transfer, which also has been used. And one of the good things here is that you have this is not long range, but the long range data transmission. For instance, you can have it still in your tool case, and so you don't need to think about uploading data to the system. It will just do that when you put it away. And also that's also suitable, for instance, for the theft protection system. So provides for easy exchange of data. Next. So yeah, this is Sinara's slide, which is away because some family issues. So I'll try to sort of explain, but this is the has been done a search for other patents for within the wireless domain for Hilti. So just go to the next one. Okay, so here's two different examples. You have US 11.303.744B1, which was presented by the other group too. What important is that you have a wireless communication system that can change mode of operation depending on what kinds of other systems is around. So you can have sort of backward integration. Yes, and another example is US 9073160B2, which isn't about wireless communication, but it has about an attachment to a wireless to the power tool, which is a suction device. So as you know, everyone's used a power tool. You know, it comes a lot of dust. So then you often want to have a suction device to suck up the dust and contain it. The problem is, of course, that you don't want the fans in these to run all the time because that's noisy and also uses power that you don't need. So you want that is interconnected with the power tool so that you only start the fan motor when the power tool is running. So having a wireless communication for this would be one of the use cases for having a wireless communication. So next.
Thank you, Andrea. So next, I'll talk about the further protection instruments. And as we all know, a comprehensive IP strategy goes beyond just patents and include other things, for example, like trademarks, design rights, trade secrets, as well as copyrights. So I'll talk about some of this. Next slide, please. Yeah, so for example, in the case of trademark, as many of our colleagues have already pointed out, for example, Hilti, it is a word mark and it consists of a red toolbox with black fasteners and the handle and also the word Hilti. So the primary function of trademark is really to distinguish the goods and services that is provided by Hilti as from other providers. And it also allows the company the right to prevent others from using similar or identical mark without their permission. Next is design right. So, for example, for Hilti, they have the anchor system design, but design rights can typically include things like the decorative patterns, graphic symbols, their shape of products, as well as packaging. So when you have a registered design, it protects the visual appearance of the product and also gives the company an exclusive right and also a legal right to stop unauthorized party from producing or using their designs. Next slide, please. And there is also trade secrets. And this can include is basically any confidential business information that gives the enterprise a competitive edge and is unknown to others. It can include both technical information as well as commercial information. So in the case of Hilti, primarily, I think it is the method or technique of manufacture. For example, there are technologies such as the drop-resistant technology, fire stop technology, etc. And lastly, in terms of copyright, it also plays a major role. In this case, for example, the Hilti app, it is a mobile application. And since mobile apps are software applications, and each of these are designed to run with a unique source code. And the source code itself meets the standard for copyright protection because it is an original work of authorship that's designed by the app developer. Next, I think I'll pass it on to Rita.
Yes, with regards to the last question, we've been thinking through the paradigm shift and the digital transformation of Hilti, which is again an old company, so has been there for a while already. And what we saw was that first we had the IPs of the physical layer. So these were the traditionally good and well-perceived quality, reliable power tools of Hilti, of which we identified that the main perception and the main objective was the effective tools, like it really drills that hole on the wall. And then it extended to the IPs of the digital layer, where we see here that the services are connected to the existing tools based on the existing brand. And they use the services connected to the tools. And this is going towards the efficient tool management. So extended the physical layer to the digital layer by the customer services, by the rental structure, what they set up. And then in the last layer, and this is basically the room to improve their IPs and their exclusivities based on the customer values, which is the customer experience. So what we see is that this is also not just something which a company should look for, but at the moment is something which is an expectation from the side of the customers, and they should follow it up. And there we were thinking of extending the current application towards the more disruptive and really the newest technologies, the novel technologies inclusion into the currently available apps. So more using the semantic engines, using chatbots, intelligent chatbots, and interconnectivity with other systems. So there we didn't see yet real movements. Maybe the only one was with Alexa, what we have identified. But basically, this is really about interconnectivity, which should be or could be targeted based on this kind of incremental innovations. And if we go to the next slide, please, then we see that currently what we have is this mobile app, which is Hilti on Track. And at the moment, what it offers is this Hilti specific tool management functions, the asset management functions like transparency, control of the entire fleet, then assigning tools to the staff members, tool inventory, schedule of maintenance. They also include kind of certificate storage, which is relating to the safety and security environment. But what it could be extended to is more about the productivity. So how much the management of the company can track based on these apps, the productivity of the workers, whether they are well distributed in the different locations, whether the different security regulations are properly held. There is really a lot of room for expanding the possibilities within the digital world. And I think this is what we had for today to tell you about. And thank you very much for your attention.